Oh, what's going on, everybody? It's a really good Monday here, November the 7th. We just went through our daylight savings. Everybody got their little gain an hour of sleep or whatever else you came to do. Um, Now, everybody that did see my Halloween Ends review, me and Mel did a review on that. Apparently, YouTube decided to take it down. Not only did they take it down, they apparently, I had Matt Ogden come on the show, and we were talking some stuff politically, and you know how YouTube is about stuff with political. So for now on, I'm going to kind of keep my videos a little clean on that part. So um, if y'all were wondering if I took it down, no, I did not take that video down, but the video got taken down by YouTube itself. So yeah, let's get into this. I had this conversation with a family member about 2 days ago, and we were talking about not only just college football, not only just sports in particular, but mainly we were talking about the NFL. We were talking about professional football, and in that particular moment, we were talking about how certain teams are being catered, not only just certain teams, but certain players. And we all know what we're talking about here. Any of y'all who are NFL fans, football fans, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's certain NFL teams that get really catered, and I remember, and it was more accurate last night on the Sunday night game between my Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs. Um, Unfortunately, my Titans did not win that game. We lost in overtime, 20-17. Uh, but that wasn't the biggest issue. The biggest issue was it's how you have a guy like Chris Collinsworth on NBC, who, if I would know any better, I think that he was going to be sucking on Patrick Mahomes' dick. Is pretty accurate adjective to go with what I was thinking. Um, yeah, it's kind of gotten to that point now where this is going to be my Chris Collinsworth impression. Well, I was just talking to Andy Reid the other day, and this is what Patrick Mahomes does. He's just so fanatical, so fantastic. His ass looks really good, and this is how it goes. There's certain teams and certain players that are catered. A lot of us, all about around the time, used to think Tom Brady was catered, and he still technically is being catered to. Um, if you ask certain fans, some fans will say the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Some would say the Cowboys are being catered to, and you look at a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, who is 7-0, 8-0, and they're not on TV nearly as much as Kansas City, not nearly as much as Green Bay, not nearly as much as the Dallas Cowboys, and there's just certain teams that they garner more TV time, and that tends to be a very big thing here in the NFL now. Is and it's not just the NFL. It's not just the teams, not just the players, ladies and gentlemen. Before the Kansas City Chiefs and the Titans went into overtime, Kansas City went down there. They scored. They were 17-15 and decided to go for two. In that game in particular, the Kansas City Chiefs went for two 4 different times before the fourth time they finally got it right. But they threw like 3 flags in the first one. The second one, they were Travis Kelce, um, who should have been fined during the game because he took off his helmet and slammed it down on one play when the Titans got the interception. But he also decided to rip off one of the Titans defenders' helmet off. But yet they called pass interference on the Tennessee Titans. You see where I'm going with this? The NFL has darlings that they love. You know, like the Cincinnati Bengals were those darlings last year. I mean, a lot of people don't want to say that the NFL is rigged, but I am, you know, and I was one of those people. I didn't want to believe that the NFL could be rigged or is rigged, but it's starting to make sense. And let me explain the reason why. I don't want y'all to think that I'm some crazy conspiracy theorist, but here's my reasons and my opinions on why I think it could be. If you see the DraftKings and all these sports things that you bet on, and you know, playing fantasy football and all this other stuff, you know, the Las Vegas betting odds. Like I said, I have a friend who lives in Las Vegas who has done that before, and he's told me what they do there. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be real with you guys. The NFL is rigged. And the reason why I say they're rigged is they're making so much money off of DraftKings and off of all these betting apps. And then Fox has this thing on Sunday mornings where you can win $1 million of Terry Bradshaw if you pick the winning games and stuff like that. It's all about this. It's all about commercializing and marketing and all this stuff. NFL is just not a sport. It's a business. It's a business that makes money. And when you're in it to make money, you're going to do whatever you can do to make that abundantly clear. So, in other words, guys, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of gotten to a point now where, it's, you know how sometimes some of us guys from the TTC will get together on here and we'll pick the games and we'll have some little fun banners back and forth, and we'll do hate weeks. We'll do this, we'll do that. And it's, to me, honestly, now it's a little bit different now. It's kind of gotten to a point where you can do all the trash talking you want for your team, but say, for example, if the NFL wants an internet darling, which right now in the AFC, it looks like the Miami Dolphins or the New York Jets might be that team. Kansas City is going to be there. You know that they're going to butt kiss Buffalo. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes get so much dick sucking. It is insane. And I'm not taking any away from Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a fantastic quarterback. And Patrick Mahomes has got some skills too. I'm not taking anything away from them. You remember how, but you know what's funny? When a team that like ESPN picks during the off season, they'll look at the off season and they'll go, Like the AFC South, everybody kept talking about it was going to be the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis Colts. No one gave the Titans a second look. And it happened last year, and it happened this year. And it's like, how much more disrespect do you have to get in order to... See, we like to play the spoilers around here. That's what we're good for. We like to play the spoiler. We like to... Coach Vrabel likes to get us to the situation where we're like, look, we ain't supposed to be here. Or in y'all's mind, we're not supposed to be here. But guess what? We crashing the party. But if the NFL wants to have a Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen AFC championship again, that's exactly what's going to happen. And all it takes is just a few little fluke. Some of y'all might, and I know a lot of people are like, you can't complain about the refs, Kev. It's just a part of the game. It happens. It even happens in baseball with the umpires and blah, blah, blah. You're absolutely right. It does happen. But there are some calls, and I remember being on the video with Stephen Rose and the Prodigal Hill on this. And they were talking about this one coach in high school that intercepted the ball from a from a thing. So here's what you need to look for when you're watching the NFL. If you notice that your team is doing really well in the first half and they're not getting many calls called on them, everything's good, right? And then the second half begins. You get a little flag here and there in the third quarter. But watch that fourth quarter. If it's very close and there's a team that they really don't want to be good or they don't want that team to beat the big team, what they'll do is, especially if it's in their hometown, like it was last night with Kansas City, then you start seeing fluke calls being flagged in. Like little silly shit. And yes, I played football for many years. There is holding almost in every play. You can't call it every play, but there's some plays where it's blatantly see that you can see holding, or you can see certain plays being done. And you know that's the underlying issue with certain NFL teams is, especially Kansas City in this predicament, is you do one little. It's like if your team starts to build some little momentum in the fourth quarter. Like, okay, let's say, for example, your team is. Say, for example, let's take Duke Bonner's team. Let's take, Travis Staley's team. Let's take the Dallas Cowboys, for example. Prodigal Hill's team, too. Ezekiel Elliott, let's say it's really close. They're facing the Philadelphia Eagles. They're in Dallas. Well, no, they already were in Philadelphia. But let's just play Russian roulette. Let's say they're in Philadelphia. The Cowboys were kicking ass in the first half. Third quarter, they come off flat. Philly's starting to get a little momentum building. It's all about momentum, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the game is about. It is physical, but it is about strategy. It is about changing things in the second half and during halftime, making adjustments and stuff like that. But football is a lot of this mental, and it's a lot of momentum. When you are if you're especially a team and you're in your home stadium, and you hear that crowd roaring, 60, 70,000 people roaring, cheering, this and that, it builds energy. It builds like that second win. It's almost like you fight or flight. And the problem with that is once you start building momentum, you start seeing it on defense. Like the defense starts making stops and they're getting pumped up, and all of a sudden the offense starts making plays and they start getting pumped up. Before you know it, the game's over and you've lost. And that team that gained that momentum is the winner. But let's just say, for example, let me go back to what I was saying. Let's say the Dallas Cowboys were beating the Philadelphia Eagles in the first half. Like, let's say 24-7. Throw that out there. Third quarter, Dallas comes off a little flat. There's a little flags being called on them. Not too much. The Eagles come back, and now we're in the fourth quarter. We're in the nitty gritty. We're like 3-4 minutes into the game. Now it's 24-24. Dallas has got the ball. Dallas hasn't had any really good momentum. And all of a sudden, Ezekiel Elliott breaks free and gets a 20-yard gain. First down. Oops, what's that? A flag's called. Holding. Dallas. Now you're back 1-20. And now You get a little throw, you get a little run, stop. Now it's 2nd and 16. You do another little run, 2nd and 12. Third and 12 now. So now you are in that crowd. Dallas, Phillies crowd's going crazy. It's loud. Now they know that you're going to pass at this point. And all of a sudden, say you're Dallas. Dak Prescott throws a first down. Wait a minute. Another flag is called. This time it's for offensive pass interference on the offense. Another 10-yard penalty. Repeat third down. So now, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're in a bigger hole now, because now where you got that first down, you had that first down the first time with Ezekiel Elliott. So now it's got cut off. You got back, got that first down, and then it gets called again against you. There's little things that the referees do that actually help the NFL, because the NFL, when they build these schedules out, they're going to want their biggest primetime teams. And I'm not talking about the big city teams. I know some people used to talk about that. They used to talk about, the big city teams get more of the accolades. No, it's not that anymore. It's who is sucking whose dick is what's going on in the NFL. That's the point where it always used to be about, in the AFC, before Brady went to Tampa, it used to be about Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, and Ben Roethlisberger. Those guys would get away with the most murderous things on the field. You barely touch them, penalty. Barely touch them, penalty. Boom, 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 boom. Now, the tides are changing. Now it's about Josh Allen. Now it's about Patrick Mahomes. And now it's about, more of the younger guys. And you see it all the time. But see, this is what you got to look at. When you're watching the NFL and you're watching these games, you have to look at it. Look at it closely. Next time you watch a game and your team is down or your team's winning, and all of a sudden the second half, start watching how your team does. Start watching the referees more. And you start noticing things. I know some people are going to say you can't blame the referees because, your team loses and blah, 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 blah. And sometimes they're right. You can't. But referees play a very big role in who wins and who loses on a Sunday or a Monday night or Thursday or a Sunday or a Monday game. And it's like that on college football too. They will call, if there are certain teams in college football, like the Georgia Bulldogs, like Alabama, there are certain teams who can get away with a little bit more shit than you can get away with. Now, had that been the Titans last night, and they were down 17-9, and then they went and got that touchdown, and then they tried to go for the 2-point conversion, the referees wouldn't have helped the Titans out. They wouldn't have given the Titans 4 chances to try to do a second point. They gave Kansas City not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 chances. 4 chances to get that 2-point conversion. You can't make this shit up. You cannot make this certain shit up. I'm telling you, you can't. It's insane. You would think that you could, but you can't. Just looking there. So, I mean, I know that Post and Prodigal Hill has made some comments about, the NFL possibly being rigged and stuff like that. He's saying it was rigged. I've seen some videos on YouTube talking about it being rigged, and it's an interesting concept because there's some truth to it. There is some absolute truth to the whole thing. I mean, you can sit there and say, well, yeah, there's no way there can be some truth to that. Oh, yeah. There is truth to it. And it's one of those things too where, if you're a team that's not in the NFL's plans, why you think a team like the Tennessee Titans, who's got a really, like our stadium was built in 1999, Nissan Stadium. Now the Titans are getting a bigger, more flashier stadium that's being built in 2026. Because now Nashville wants to be a big name town. They want to host the Super Bowl. They want to have a WrestleMania there and all this other stuff. Because they want the NFL to look at them. And it all depends on who is doing what for the NFL. Have you noticed this year they're not really behind Aaron Rodgers? They're not really behind Tom Brady like they have in the past. It's a changing of the guards. This year has been what I've seen is changing of the guards. It's Russell Wilson. I remember when he went to Denver in the offseason, everybody thought how Denver was going to be so good. And I'm like, whoa, hold up there a second. And now Denver is struggling with probably arguably one of the best QBs in the league in Russell Wilson. And it's one of those things too where you see certain teams and you go, how are they doing well and how is this team struggling? It's all about the money with the NFL. It's all a monopoly. It's like the big monopoly man. You're rolling it down. You're going down Park Lane, and then all of a sudden you end up in jail and this and that. It's all a game. It's all a money monopoly game. That's what the NFL is all about. If they don't give a fuck about what you, or anybody thinks, I mean, yeah, I know some of y'all are going to be like, well, we pay for the merchandise. We have our TVs. We pay for our apps to watch these games. We pay the tickets to go to the stadiums and blah, blah, blah. You're absolutely correct. However, fantasy football, pick'em leagues, FanDuel, DraftKings, MGM bets, Vegas betting odds, they're all there for one specific reason: to take your money. This is all this is about, is money. Because if you look at the first 2 weeks in the NFL season this year, there was teams that were winning that shouldn't be winning at all. Look at the New York Giants. Look at the New York Jets. Two teams that were supposed to be absolutely horrible this season. And they're sitting there with 5-3 records, 6-2 records. And you look at it and you go, that's a little odd. And then you look at a team like the Green Bay Packers. Most of us picked them to go to the Super Bowl for the NFC. And Green Bay is 3-6. That's not a coincidence. And some people say, well, Kev, hold on, man. Now, Aaron Rodgers has got like a younger receiving staff and, the receivers are young and all that. Yeah, I get that. And the Packers do need to get rid of their GM. All that aside, it's all about what can you do for me lately. Patrick Mahomes is the poster boy for the NFL. Why do you think he's starting to do all those State Farm commercials now? You barely see Aaron Rodgers doing it because the NFL is catering to the new society that we're in. That's what's going on. NFL is catering to a new society that we are living in right now. And some of you can admit that. Some of you can disagree with that all you want. That's your opinion, and that's fine. But I'm telling you, the proof's in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. And they're going to go, and if you look at some of these sports announcers, sportscasters, like a Chris Collinsworth, like a Troy Aikman and Joe Buck and stuff like that, there are certain guys out there, and Chris Collinsworth's the worst of the worst. They will cater to certain teams that are doing well, players who are doing well. And you know what, Desert Eagle, you're my boy, and I love you. But they've been butt kissing Jalen Hurts pretty much all season long. And not to say he doesn't deserve it, because he's playing some lights out football for the Eagles. I'm not going to lie. But taking that aside, there are certain players in the NFL who are so marketable, they just go with the flow with this team. So now you see Pittsburgh is struggling. The Raiders, they bring them to Las Vegas. They wanted the Raiders to do well. Now the Raiders are struggling. And it's like the Chargers. I thought the Chargers were going to be an elite team this year, and the Chargers are not really being that elite team that I thought they would be. Everybody thought Cincinnati was going to be this juggernaut of an offense, and Cincinnati is struggling this season. It's right there in front of you guys. I mean, Tampa is struggling. Tampa's struggling, but they're still atop of the NFC, the NFC South. So it's like, you see what I'm talking about here. There's some truth to this. And it's getting to a point now where you really just don't. It's like, what's the point? Because I've never done the DraftKings. I've never done like the Las Vegas betting odds and stuff like that. I've never done the whole, let's put some money on a game, because why put a money on a game? Why be stupid and put money on a game where it could be, a game could come down to one bad call and everything goes poof. And say it's $100 bet. You're out of $100. You're out of $100 because the NFL did not want your team to win that game. It's mathematics, everybody. Now, I know that some people are going to be like, yeah, I thought you weren't a conspiracy theorist. There's some conspiracy theories I do believe in. And this is one of them. And it really needs to be addressed. I mean, and it's not just the NFL in particular. It's the NBA. It's NHL. It's Major League Baseball. Because there was some games between the Phillies and the Astros this World Series where there was some questionable. I mean, like, I played baseball too for a long time. And, my dad taught me the game. He taught me how to watch the pitchers and look for certain pitches and how pitches do and stuff like that. I was fortunate to have someone like that to help me. But watching the World Series with Mel, because Mel's a Phillies girl, and she's from South Jersey, and she was rooting for the Phillies. You look at it and you go, there was some pitches that should have not have been in the strike zone, and I know where the strike zone's at, and there was some questionable pitches that were a ball, clearly a ball, but yet the umpire said strike. So there's some things you have to watch. You just have to. If you next time, ladies and gentlemen, if you watch an NFL game, watch it if it's very close. If it's a very close, tight game, like it was last night, you will notice a difference with everything. And it's a real big difference. And some of y'all may not want to believe that, but it's there. It is really there. It's but this is the reason why I don't bet on games, why I don't bet on money and stuff like that, because I'm like, what's the point of betting if the NFL is going to predetermine this game? Because the NFL is also entertainment now. It's not just sports, it's entertainment now too. You know, it's all about what you can do for CBS, what you can do for ABC, what can you do for Prime Video, what can you do for ESPN, what can you do for NBC. It's all about the money. It's a monopoly. It's a business, not just a sport where we all love the sport and play the sport. It's all about who's trending, who's doing what kind of a streak are people on. You know, who do you want in the AFC Championship? Who do you want in the NFC Championship? Who do you want in the Super Bowl? The NFL determines that. Yeah, there's 53 men on that field. There's 53 men on that field, don't get me wrong, but all kidding aside, there's one people that own, even though that stadium is owned by Kansas City or owned by the Titans or it don't matter if your team owns that stadium. It doesn't matter if your owner owns the team. If the NFL wants your team to be at the top of the elite, they will be. And if your team is losing, let's say 26-0 in the first half, that second half, they're going to make sure that they can help your team gain the momentum to go in and win that game, no matter what. But let me know what you guys think. Some of you NFL fans, some of you sports fans, let me know what you guys think in the comments later on. I would love to see people's opinion on this. It's an open forum, so if you have an opinion, it's great. You know, let's discuss it. By the way, though, I want to thank everybody for bearing with me. Tomorrow will be the day that my father. It's been almost a month since it's been a month since he's gone, and trying to get everything adjusted to the notion that he's not going to be around anymore. So I was going to do a nerd room 101 panel about a week or two ago, but that got mixed up. I'm going to make sure I can start doing that soon. I've started a new job, so I'm working on getting that stuff going on, and a lot of different things going on, but I'm going to be on here as much as I can be. We'll have some new content coming up, and like, share, and sub. Hit that notification bell for all your needs. I talk about a lot of different stuff on here, and post your comments down below. This is Big Kev for Big Kev's World. Signing out.